Are you ready? It is time for another episode of Broad Street and Beyond, where everything Philly sports at Central PA is in play. We leave those New York sports in the penalty box. And now, here's Chase and JT.
It's the holiday edition of Broad Street and Beyond. JT and Chase on this Tuesday before Christmas Eve and Tuesday before Christmas. Chase, it's Christmas Eve as we record this, and this will be, will this be our last one of the year? Probably not. We'll squeeze another one in
we
right
may
before
squeeze
the
one
new
in
year.
next week. Yeah, maybe. Well, we'll see how next week goes. If I get some Christmas lottery tickets for Christmas there, JT, I win $1 million, I won't have to do these podcasts anymore, you know?
Wouldn't do it just for the fun of it?
No. I'd give it up.
For the love of sports?
For the
You'd
love
leave me
of
in the
sports.
dust. I have to sit here all by myself for an hour each week and just ramble on with nobody to talk to.
You got Cooper DeJean back there. He's keeping you company.
Cooper DeJean, I have him back there. The man is my hero. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
That's why Cooper DeJean's back there. He's also a Pro Bowler, but we'll get to all that in just a few moments. So we're going to break everything down. We're going to talk about the Eagles. We're going to hit, of course, the Steelers and the Ravens. Some significant results for them this past week. We'll also get into some hockey. Of course, we'll talk Penn State as they get geared up here for the Pinstripe Bowl coming up this weekend, and we'll also take a look at some interesting names for the transfer portal that could be available for the Nittany Lions. Of course, we'll do the hockey talk like we said. We'll close with some Sixers. We'll even touch on some Phillies news. So a lot to get to, my friend, but let's start it off here with the Birds. On Saturday, they officially clinched their second straight NFC East title. So that's the last time we have to hear about, what is it? What was the last time somebody won back-to-back
21
NFC
years
East
ago.
titles?
21 years ago.
21 years ago. So the networks can finally put that graphic to rest where they show that no team has repeated in 21 years as NFC's champs, because the Eagles have done it, baby, back-to-back. They get the 29-18 win over the Commanders in Washington. Wasn't pretty, but the result will take it. What did you think? I mean, they, offensively they left some points on the board thanks to Jake Elliott
Again.
But they, I thought they were good enough offensively. They ran the ball pretty good. Saquon had a really good second half. What did you see when you watched it? Were you able to sit and watch the whole game on Saturday?
I did. Yeah, I did watch the whole game. I mean, the offense looked good. I mean, the offense was somewhat consistent, like you said, minus Jake Elliott missing what would have been 3 field goals if that one would have counted. But there was a penalty on that one that he did miss. But despite that, I mean, Hurts was accurate. He looked good. They got Saquon well over 100 yards in that game again. But I think the more involved in maybe the past 2 games now that we're starting to see some better things from that offense, maybe with Hurts and A.J. Brown hooking up once again. They're trying to get that running game going. I mean, they tried to mix in Bigsby there in a little bit too in the run game. And anytime you can get Dallas Goedert in the mix of that offense, I think is going to help the Eagles long term here and in the playoffs. But their true test is definitely going to come this coming weekend against the Buffalo Bills, without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect the Eagles to win this game on Sunday, but we'll see. I mean, I think they are playing better now. You're gonna take into account the fact that it was against the Raiders and the Commanders, and
right.
I never thought they were going to lose that game on Saturday, and then especially when Mariota went out and Josh Johnson came in at quarterback, I knew the Washington was toast. I think there's a little more. There seems to be a little more rhythm to the offense. The last 2 games, it doesn't seem to be quite as disjointed. Their run game, I think, is still a little inconsistent. You'd like to see that chugging along at like where it was last year heading into the playoffs. I don't know that we're going to get there. Barkley looked pretty good on Saturday. He had that one long run in the second half, but I mean, that part of that was all him, where he made that guy miss in the backfield because Cam Jerkins got basically blown past
Yeah, he did.
But I will say this: Cam Jurgens then he didn't kind of stand there and kind of wallow in the missed block. He went to the second level and made a key block that sprung Barkley down the left sideline. So credit to that. But Dickerson still looks okay and not that great. I guess Fred Johnson had a holding penalty that wiped out a touchdown that they ended up scoring on. I will say this: Jalen Hurts, for as up and down as he is as a passer, that TD throw to Dallas Goedert was
something else.
Might have been his best throw of the season.
Yeah,
I mean that was in a clutch situation. They had some penalties that backed them up. They were 3rd and goal from I think the 15 on that play, and he threw it at a place that allowed Goddard to go up and get it, and it was kind of a tight window. And so that was pretty impressive.
With the Eagles coming up, too, I mean, you got Lane Johnson coming back, and you also got Jalen Carter coming back here for the Buffalo Bills game. So that'll spark the team a little bit more. But the offense starting to get it together. Maybe they're starting to peak at the right time. If they come out against Buffalo and just have a tremendous football game this coming Sunday, I mean, that'll be the tall tale once they go into the playoffs, I think, with beating Buffalo, the last game of the season, not going to probably mean a whole lot because the Eagles are probably going to get the 3rd seed, I would think, in this NFC going into the playoffs. But it's going to be an interesting game.
Like.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game on Sunday.
I think it's looking more and more likely that they'll probably end up as the 3rd seed, which would mean at home for sure in the first round, and then we'll see what happens after that. What happens with the other results? I mean, probably the likeliest scenario would be at home in the first round and then probably hitting the road, after that, which is something that they haven't had to do in any of their Super Bowl runs.
No.
If you remember in Super Bowl 52, they were at home for the whole playoffs until the Super Bowl. Same thing happened for Super Bowl 57. And then last year, where they had a chance to maybe be on the road for the NFC Championship game. That's when Washington knocked off Detroit, so the Eagles were able to be at home for the NFC Championship game last year. So this team hasn't played, this group really hasn't played any road games in the play. Well, I take that back. They did have that wild card game in 2024 where they got blitzed by the Bucs, but other than that, they've mostly gotten to play at home.
Yeah, maybe a change of scenery would do them good here in the playoffs, too. I mean, if they start peaking here at the right time going into the playoffs, I mean, you know it as well as I do. The team that's always peaking going into the playoffs is the team to beat, and hopefully the Eagles can get it all together here, the last 2 weekends of the season. It got pretty heated against the Commanders. I'm sure it's going to get pretty heated again at the last game of the year against Washington, this time in Philly, but we'll see what they do against the Bills. They got a tall test this weekend on Sunday, taking on Josh Allen and those guys. I mean, those guys are coming in here. I mean, they only beat the Browns by 3 this past weekend, so they weren't lights out against the lonely Cleveland Browns this past weekend. But we'll see what the Eagles have to offer as far as offense, and their defense played pretty well. Jordan Davis had a good game this past weekend on Saturday, but we'll see what they can do against the Bills.
Yeah, I'm pretty intrigued because I think right now it seems like Buffalo is the team that everyone's talking about in the AFC. I think the team that maybe a lot of the experts trust the most to come out of the AFC this year, with the fact that the Chiefs aren't going to be there, the Ravens are fading fast. You've got Denver, but now maybe their stock dropped a little bit with the fact that they lost at home to Jacksonville on Sunday. So we'll see. I mean, there's the Patriots there, but the fact that the Patriots lost to the Bills 2 weeks ago, so I think teams are maybe kind of high on Buffalo now. So if the Eagles can go into Buffalo and get a good showing and maybe even knock them off, I mean, if they go in there and they knock off the Bills, I think the buzz is definitely going to be back where the Eagles are concerned. And then we'll see that last game, depending on how things fall on Sunday, might not mean anything no matter what happens, whether they beat the Bills or not. And then they wouldn't be able to. Then they would probably sit everybody against Washington in the last game of the year. So we'll see how it all shakes out. I don't know if I guess Nakobe Dean went out early in that game with a hamstring injury. And now I haven't read anything. I guess he was at some kind of
toy drive.
Toy drive where he said that he should be good to go, and it was just a minor tweak. So I guess they kept him out for precautionary reasons. Again, in a situation like that, it's good that Jihad Campbell played so much early in the year. So at least they had, even though he's been phased out more lately in favor of the Kobe Dean, at least, you had a pretty good backup to put in there at that stage. So we'll see. And then one other Eagles note, I guess today they announced 5 Pro Bowlers. So 5 Pro Bowlers for the Eagles. Jalen Carter is going to the Pro Bowl. Cam Jurgens, which I'm surprised because I don't think anybody on the offensive line had a good year. But and then Zach Bond got in, and then Quinyon Mitchell and our boy Cooper DeJean. And I can't. I guess Cam Jurgens, I'm surprised at. I'm also surprised. I guess I think you could have made a case for Jordan Davis on the defensive line too. I think he had a fantastic year.
Yeah.
And he really, with Jalen Carter out these last couple of weeks, I thought he really stabilized things on the interior.
Yeah, he stepped it up for the Eagles, and I'm not sure exactly why he was left off the Pro. But even the Pro Bowl is not the same as it used to be. I mean, now they put those skills games in and all the nonsense along with the Pro Bowl now. I mean, can't we just play a football game between the NFC and AFC like they used to do? And they get all decked out in the NFC and AFC jerseys. Back in the day, man, that was the game too, almost just like the NBA All-Star game, and they just messed that up too, the Pro Bowl as well.
Well, I think you could say that really about any of the All-Star games in any of the major sports, with maybe the exception of the Major League Baseball All-Star game. That's one where it actually seems like
got something.
It's a real contest, whether it's not, gimmicks and games where they actually, you can't really fake that.
Yeah.
You would think, unless you just have guys lobbing it in there, but
right, yeah,
anyway,
not the same. Just not the same.
No, it's definitely not. I totally agree with you. So we'll see what happens. Birds and the Bills up in Buffalo. That's coming up Sunday, 4:25. I think is the kickoff. Yep. So that's I'm guessing that's a CBS game. Probably.
I would assume. Yeah.
Okay. So that means we'll probably get Jim Nantz and Tony Romo for that.
Tony Romo. Clutch.
Here we go, Jim.
Clutch Tony Romo.
Yeah. So we'll see. But again, I am pretty intrigued by what happens. Did you? How much of the Steelers Lions game did you watch on Sunday?
Decent amount. I mean, that was quite the ending. Did you see the whole game? How that thing ended?
I saw most of it. That was pretty crazy. I mean, I'll be honest. I thought, what was it, 29-17 with like
4 minutes to go.
6-something.
4 minutes.
Oh, was it 4 minutes?
4 minutes to go.
Okay, because it was 6-something to go when they scored, when Jalen Warren did it again. 29-17. I thought at that point they had it wrapped up.
Listen, Detroit had no business winning that football game at all.
No, they didn't.
None. I mean, they were just dog meat for the first 3 quarters, much of the fourth quarter in that game. And I mean, once Jalen Warren broke that tackle for that touchdown to make it to 29-17, I was like, this game's over. It wasn't over. I mean, Detroit had 15 yards rushing in that whole entire game. And then they just come back, and Goff just comes back and just starts torching the Steelers. There was no reason why the Detroit Lions were in that football game, and the way it ended was just unbelievable as well. But Pittsburgh sneaked it out. I mean, they did sneak it out, but there was no business Detroit making that as close as they did.
Yeah, Detroit probably could. I mean, if you're looking at a team whose stock fell dramatically late in the season, I think you'd have to look at them, and I guess maybe the Colts too. But the Colts, have with their quarterback situation, having to play Phillip Rivers, and I know Detroit's had a lot of injuries defensively, and I think offensively they really missed Sam Laporta.
Yeah.
I think when he went out for the year, I think that really hurt their offensive attack, even though they still have a lot of guys there, a lot of weapons. But yeah, that was a weird game. So that was what Jalen Warren had like back-to-back 45-yard
rushes for
touchdown
touchdowns.
Runs.
Yeah,
and so Detroit they go down. They got like a 4th and 2 play, and they turn it into a touchdown. And then it looked like the Steelers, I mean, they had that game locked down.
Mm-hmm.
And then Boswell misses that field goal. I couldn't believe he missed that field goal. I thought Jake Elliott had flown down, took a red eye down to Detroit.
That was a big time
put
doink.
on the Steelers uniform. Yeah.
That was a big time doink.
But and then of course you knew, like, just the way the football gods work, you knew that when Boswell missed that field goal, you're like,
Here
Detroit's
we go.
they're gonna drive down the field and maybe win the game. So they did score a touchdown, but it was wiped out due to I think it was an offensive pass interference call.
Yep.
The first time around on a pick play.
Then they got called.
And then of course it all came.
They got called for a tripping too. Late in that fourth quarter, there was that pass interference call. Then they got called for a tripping call as well to set the Lions up to take the lead in that game. So, series of events towards that end of the fourth quarter was just absolutely crazy.
Well, and then of course it all comes down to that last play where, Goff throws to Amon-Ra St. Brown short of the end zone. You see flags fly up. Then Amon-Ra flips the ball back to Jared Goff, who goes into the end zone. I mean, it was just like total chaos.
Yeah.
And then it was like the officials had some kind of summit.
And half an hour later.
It took forever to announce that call. And, so I guess and then of course the way they announce it, they get the crowd all in an upror where they talk about
scoring a
that
touchdown.
they ruled on the field that it was a touchdown, and then it was like the crowd's going nuts. They're like, however,
it doesn't count.
Screw you, screw you, Detroit. It just doesn't count because of an offensive pass interference call.
And it was clear. It was a clear pass interference too. I mean, he clearly went up to the guy and just shoved him out of the way, but. Video doesn't lie, but I mean, it took him so long to make that call that nobody had any idea what the outcome was going to be. I mean, even on the sidelines. I mean, Rodgers, from the get-go, as soon as it happened, he knew like the game was over.
Oh yeah,
and
he was like,
he was fit to be tied over on the sidelines.
Yeah, he was like, what's all the fuss about? The Steelers, early in that game, it looked like they couldn't do much offensively, and then it was like. It's looking like they're going to be down at the half. And then one of the craziest touchdowns I think I've ever seen, Rodgers throws that pass to Kenny Gainwell down the field, who was matched up with Alex Anzalone, the linebacker.
And he fell to the ground.
He's on his back. Yep. He's on his back on the ground and makes the catch, wasn't touched, and had the presence of mind to get up and score a touchdown. I mean, he's been huge for them the past couple weeks. He was huge for them on – He had like 128 total yards between rushing and receiving and a touchdown. I mean, he was money for them.
Yeah, 9 rushes, 50 yards. He had 5 receptions for 78 yards and a touchdown. I mean, big game for Warren, big game for Rodgers too. But that's why the Eagles should have never got rid of that little man. I like that Kenny Gainwell guy. I'll tell you what. But he's so versatile. He really is. I mean, he's the Steelers' leading receiver this year. He's their leading receiver this year for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I was texting with I was in my text group with the Text Bros, and we were all like, man, I don't think the Eagles used him right. Like, I don't think they used him enough as this receiver out of the backfield. I mean, he's like this dynamic weapon that the Eagles maybe didn't know that they had. Well, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, Barkley was having an otherworldly year last year, running the ball. So the opportunities maybe just weren't there.
But could you imagine having Kenny Gainwell now in that backfield with the Eagles? And and like with the dump passes, or just even put him out as a slot receiver somewhere. Could you imagine where they would be right now with Kenny Gainwell? That catch was absolutely amazing. I was always a big Kenny Gainwell fan, and he is having a tremendous year this year with Pittsburgh, and it's pretty incredible to watch what he's doing out west.
Yeah, if you think about it, that would be a heck of a wrinkle to have in that offense this year, to have him, as a reliable pass catcher out of the backfield. I mean, he's, with his speed, he'd be pretty tough. A linebacker trying to match up against him would be a pretty tough matchup for whoever that would be. So,
and just keep in mind, the Steelers fans that don't want Mike Tomlin out of there, just keep in mind, this is 19 straight non-losing seasons for Mike Tomlin.
That's right.
So keep that in mind, there, Steelers fans. Don't be hating on Tomlin. One of these
well,
years.
we've got a Steelers fan in the building who's got some serious Mike Tomlin hate. I'm done trying to figure out the Steelers because, every time they have a game where it's like, well, they don't do this, they don't do that well, then the next game they do that well. Like, they ran the ball really well. So we'll see. Maybe they're peaking at the right time. Aaron Rodgers, had a pretty decent game again. And now they're in the driver's seat, right? They're 9-6,
yeah.
First place in the AFC North. The Ravens lost on Sunday, which we'll get to that in just a few moments. And so now, basically, the Steelers control things. They go to Cleveland on Sunday. They get a win there, and they're AFC North champs, and they're headed to playoffs. And I'm thinking, I know you're thinking it's Cleveland, and they're not very good, but they do have a pretty good defense.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, I could see that. I definitely think the Steelers are going to win, but I could see that game being like the Browns being kind of like a pain in the rear to the Steelers.
No, that's what they just were to the Buffalo Bills, and they just competed with the Buffalo Bills this past weekend, and knowing that this is a division game for them, I mean, I really think Cleveland could play spoilers in this game and maybe set up that matchup here for the end of the year with Baltimore and see what happens. I mean, Baltimore's got to win their next two games for sure. Finishing up with the Steelers,
Correct.
Obviously, but then the Steelers would have to lose both their games here, against Cleveland and the Ravens. But could happen, man. Well, I mean, it could happen.
Well, I mean, it all happened. It all comes down to Sunday, really. First off, I mean, if for Baltimore to even have a prayer, they need for
win.
Cleveland to come through for them and to beat the Steelers on Sunday. But now the Ravens, now the Ravens on Saturday, they got to play the Packers.
Yeah, tough game there. But the Packers aren't the same without Parsons in that lineup on the defense side. I mean, you saw that this past weekend too. I mean, they were a little off on the defensive side of things now that Micah Parsons is out for the year. But we'll see. That's going to be a pretty entertaining game this weekend too.
And then, of course, the other wrinkle to that is the Steelers will be doing it the rest of the regular season without DK Metcalf, who is now suspended for 2 games for getting into it with that fan. Did you see the story? So apparently,
how did it all begin? How did that all begin?
Apparently, that fan he has a history that DK Metcalf and that fan have a history. The guy's name is Ryan Kennedy, I believe. And he had an issue with him. DK Metcalf had an issue with him when he played for the Seahawks. He had security, point him out. And he claims, so DK Metcalf claims that this guy yelled a racial slur at him, and he went over and grabbed him and tried to punch him. This guy came out and made a statement through his lawyer and said that he didn't, and that all he was doing was, he said that DK does not like being called by his government name. He must have been repeatedly calling him, Decalen Zacharias Metcalf. And finally,
I wouldn't want to be called that either.
So apparently he goes over there and takes a swing at him. So
yeah, he did.
And according to this, that the suspension would void $45 million in future guaranteed money. That's in his contract.
Wow.
I guess if it's conduct detrimental to the team, it's written into the contract. That's what CBS is reporting. Man, that's so he's forfeiting, 2 games worth of salary here. He'll be back for the playoffs, but then all of these future earnings because of this incident, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I think if he would have made contact with, because I think he just hit his hair when he threw the punch. I mean, he didn't make contact with his face, I don't think, when he threw the punch. If he would have clearly made contact with that fan when he was having that interaction with him, I think his consequences would have been a lot worse, I'm sure. Because I think when he took the swing, it just hit the wig or whatever, the purple hair that he was wearing,
right?
And he didn't connect with his face. But they even said, I mean, Jim Nantz even said, while it happened, he even said, well, Steelers ain't gonna like the consequences on this one for the next couple of games for DK Metcalf, and rightfully so.
How great would it be if this dude with his lawyer holds like a press conference, and these guys wearing like one of those old-fashioned white neck braces.
Neck braces, yeah,
You know what I mean?
back in the day.
How great would that be?
That'd be awesome. That would be pretty good.
Man.
That would be pretty good.
So the Ravens, we've touched on them a little bit. Their season's kind of on life support right now.
Yeah.
This Sunday night they had a huge game at home against the Patriots. It looked like they took control. They got the Derrick Henry touchdown early in the fourth quarter. They're up 24-13, and you're thinking, they're starting to get rolling now. Now at that point, Lamar Jackson had come out of the game with a back injury. It's being listed right now as a back contusion. I guess the last I saw right before we started recording this is that he's still listed as day-to-day. So, I mean, they have to win this game if they have any trust, any hopes of going to the playoffs. So I have a feeling that if there's any way that he can go, that he's going to try to play Saturday night. I guess is that at Lambeau, I think? Yeah, it's at Green Bay.
Yep.
On Saturday night. So we'll see what happens.
And this game, too, I mean, Drake May torched them. I mean, Drake May from the Patriots just absolutely torched them through the air. Their pass rush defense was non-existent. The Ravens early in the game, it got better later on in that game. But Ravens losing Lamar Jackson, I mean, they can't afford to have him out next weekend against the Packers, or even for the next 2 weekends if they have any intentions of actually making the playoffs. They are like you said, they're on life support right now after losing that game to the Patriots. But it was a little too late for them. I mean, even Diggs torched them. Just had an incredible game for the Patriots and absolutely just torched that secondary.
I feel like the Ravens did sort of move the ball a little bit when Stu Huntley came in, but you're right, they're not the same team with a healthy Lamar Jackson. Now, if he plays on Saturday, how healthy is he going to be? But watching that game, it kind of felt like when it was 24-13 and the Patriots get the ball back and Drake May throws that long touchdown to Kyle Williams where he kind of laid it right there in the near corner of the front corner of the end zone. It was like you could feel the air go out of that stadium. It was like, oh, no.
Yeah, but what were your thoughts, though, on Derrick Henry not touching the ball in the final 12 minutes and 50 seconds of the game? He didn't touch the ball after that. And he had well over 100 yards. They didn't give him back the ball in that fourth quarter for the final 12 minutes of that game.
Yeah, I feel like, and he's one of those guys that he needs, like, I think the more touches he gets, like, the more
he had the hot hand.
Sort of like he gets into a rhythm.
Yeah.
He's just like a monster that you have to feed. I don't know. Maybe a little bit of panic set in there. Once it was 24-20, they felt like they needed to I don't know. It was weird, though, that he didn't get more touches than he did.
He didn't touch that ball after that 2-yard touchdown run, and there was like 12 minutes and 50 seconds left, and every possession he did not get the ball back in that game, in that fourth quarter at all. And he rushed for, over 128 yards or something in that game?
Yeah, and he did have that touchdown. I mean, they had it really felt like they had the momentum going in that game in the fourth quarter. Like you would think at that point that they would put that game away. But now here they are, so they're down to they're 8-7, and we talked about it already. Now they have to find a way to beat Green Bay, whether Lamar Jackson's playing or not. And then it all comes down. If they win that game, well, again, they have to win that game, and the Steelers have to lose to the Browns, and then it would all come down to Week 18.
Right.
But that game's in Pittsburgh, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so. Yep.
The Week 18 matchup. So.
Yeah. And Ravens were 22-3 under Harbaugh in primetime games. They have lost all 3 of those games this season alone in those primetime games.
Do you think he's back next year?
Harbaugh?
Yeah.
They don't make the playoffs. I don't think so.
They keep. It feels like we've talked about this a lot. Not on this pod, obviously. We've only been doing the pod for a little bit, but it seems. I should say it seems like that discussion comes up like every year that Baltimore is considered a big contender and that they don't get to the Super Bowl. It's like, oh, is this it for Harbaugh? Because he's been there. He's got to be one of the longest tenured coaches in the league now. Harbaugh, Andy Reid in Kansas City.
And in the AFC too. I mean, prior to this season, I mean, that was all the talk of the AFC was the Baltimore Ravens getting back to the Super Bowl this year, and they certainly had the team to do it this year. But with the Lamar going out a couple times in the season, and just a couple of things that happened here and there, I mean, they're fighting for their lives right now. If they don't make the playoffs this year, I don't know how long he's under contract for, but I can't see Harbaugh coming back next season.
Unless they say, well, it was kind of a lost year because Lamar Jackson was, off and on hurt the whole year and never really got on track. So I don't know. We'll see. But some important games.
Absolutely.
Obviously, again, Eagles at the Bills on Sunday, and then Ravens in Green Bay against the Packers, and the Steelers get the big game in Cleveland on Sunday as well. So we'll have a lot clearer picture here after this weekend. Also coming up this weekend, we've got the much-anticipated Pinstripe Bowl, my friend.
Did you order your merchandise yet? Did you get your merch yet?
Did you?
No. I'm going to tell you, I have zero interest in even paying attention to this game, but I think it's going to be a lopsided. Don't you think it's going to be a lopsided game? I think Penn State's going to roll Clemson.
I don't know if they're going to roll them. There's a couple of trends I think I like in their favor. Sometimes it works in a team coming from the south that's coming up north for where it's going to be cold in Yankee Stadium. I think that could play in Penn State's favor. I also saw that I saw a stat about Dabo Swinney. I think they've lost like 3 of the last 4 bowl games Clemson has. So there's that. They got that going for them.
Yeah, a lot of guys aren't, like we mentioned before. A lot of guys from Penn State not going to be suiting up for this game, but. I mean, you're still going to have Kaytron Allen in the backfield. I don't think he has opted out of this game. He's playing in that game, and you'll still have him. You still have some of the receivers, too, there. So I think Penn State will be fine in this game.
I think at this point, I think all the receivers are going to be there. I know, obviously, Nick Singleton opted out. The area I'm worried about, though, is the defense because they haven't, their depth hasn't been quite as good this year, especially with some injuries as the year has gone on. And, Zane Durant, he opted out. He's not going to be there, so they're losing him on the line. Chaz Coleman's not going to be there. Right. Unfortunately, he went into the transfer portal. Zakee Wheatley I can't remember I think he opted out of the game. Zakee Wheatley, I'll always remember, he was like one big shove out of bounds of them beating Indiana.
Yeah. That will always be the play. Yep, that will always be the play.
I'll always remember that.
Yeah.
And then I just saw that A.J. Harris, the one corner, is not listed on the roster for the Pinstripe Bowl, but I didn't see any kind of announcement as to the reason why, that he's hurt, that he's no longer with the team, that he's opting out, that he's going into the transfer portal. I don't know the reason.
Right.
But, I mean, overall, some pretty significant names here won't be playing for Penn State. But, I mean, you're going to have that. You're going to have that across the board. So we'll see. I think I like Penn State to keep the good times rolling. So what you're saying is I was counting on you having a watch party at your house, so you're saying that's not happening on Saturday?
Probably not.
So I'll
watch it. I'll still watch it. I mean, I think the one thing to watch in this game, obviously, it's not going to matter if Penn State wins this game or not. I mean, this is probably more so going into this bowl game, more so for Matt Campbell maybe to take a look at some of those younger guys that are on the team this year, how they're going to progress into next year under his tutelage and when he takes over next season. But I think just trying to establish some of those players that are actually going to stick around at Penn State and take that step forward, because, I mean, they're going to need a drastic change next year, of course, at Penn State with what happened this year and all the things that they've – I mean, you look at all the things that Penn State has gone through in the past couple of years. Not only with the James Franklin stuff, you had the Joe Paterno stuff, you had the Jerry Sandusky stuff. I mean, you had the Bill O'Brien era when that came about. I mean, just everything that went along with everything else. They are in there's not many college football programs that have gone through what Penn State has gone through the past couple of years, and they need to take that stepping stone, and Matt Campbell hopefully is that guy to take that stepping stone and lead this team to the promised land, hopefully next season and for seasons to come. But just all the things that Penn State has been through, man. Like, you just think about that for a bit. The past 10, 15 years of what they've been through, and going forward here with the Matt Campbell era at Penn State. It's going to be interesting to watch here with what happens with Penn State.
Yeah, I would love if they could beat Clemson on Saturday. I think that would be a cool ending to the season for one that was just like an utter disaster for how many weeks, and for them to kind of get things back on track as much as they could and get themselves bowl eligible to send Terry Smith out as interim head coach. Now he's going to be sticking around, but if they could end that season, with a win in the Pinstripe Bowl, I think that would be some good vibes, hopefully, heading into next year. I had that stat wrong about Dabo Swinney, by the way. He's lost, it's not 3 of the last 4 bowl games that Clemson's been in. It's 4 of the last 6.
Oh, wow.
Close, but yeah. So we'll see what happens. The other thing, too, now we'll be looking. So some interesting names are going into the transfer portal. We mentioned some of the ones for Penn State. There's 2 offensive linemen that won't be with the team. Burkmeyer's one. I forget who the other one is, but there. As far as quarterback goes for next season, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So 2 intriguing names have announced they're hitting the transfer portal. One is Rocco Becht, who was Matt Campbell's quarterback at Iowa State last year. He announced he's entering the transfer portal, fueling speculation that he could, in fact, be following Matt Campbell up to Happy Valley. And then a name from the past, Bo Pribula, announced that he's entering the transfer portal, and that has fueled some speculation that could there be a reunion between Bo Pribula and Penn State next year. And then, of course, you've got Ethan Grunkenmeyer. So that'll be an interesting storyline to follow through the offseason to see who, in fact, is the starting quarterback next year for Penn State. Certainly a worthy storyline to follow.
Probably more likely that Rocky would probably come to Penn State more so than Bo probably coming back to Penn State. I mean, I think Bo might have, if he would have stuck around at Penn State, he may have been, with what happened maybe this season, with Allard could have been the guy and to lead them to the promised land. But, Bo, I mean, he had a great first half of the season for Missouri, but then he got hurt there and struggled in the second half of the season. But I always liked Bo when he was there, but probably more likely, if you were to pick one out of the 2, I would probably say the guy from Iowa State may be heading to Happy Valley and getting recruited, of course, by Matt Campbell to either be the backup or the starter at Penn State. And Grunkenmeyer didn't play that bad, I mean, towards the end of the year either. So, I mean, you're gonna have some competition this coming spring at the Blue-White game for sure.
I think you definitely saw some improved play from him, especially the last 2 games.
Right.
Especially they seem to throw the ball more down the field, have a little more of a vertical passing attack. We'll also have to pay attention to see as Matt Campbell tries to round out his staff next year. They're still looking for a defensive coordinator. I guess today his longtime defensive coordinator at Iowa State, John Heacock, who many thought was going to follow Matt Campbell up to Happy Valley, announced today that he is retiring from coaching. So he will not, and there was no guarantee that he was going to be the D coordinator, but there was a belief that he was at least going to be on the staff and have some sort of role on the staff next year. But that's not going to be the case. One name that keeps popping up for defensive coordinator lately is Danton Lynn, who's the D coordinator out at USC. But I guess there's some issues with his buyout. It might be a little more expensive than maybe. Maybe that Penn State's willing to deal with. So right now we know that Taylor Mauser is going to be the offensive coordinator next year. Noah Pauley at wide receiver coach. Jake Waters will be the new QB coach. And Ryan Clanton will be the O-line coach next year because Phil Troutwine, who is the longtime offensive line coach, is headed down to Florida. And then, of course, we know Terry Smith will be back in some role on the coaching staff. Trace McSorley, who's going to be coaching the quarterbacks in the Pinstripe Bowl, he'll be back. Dan Connor will be back. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, what kind of roles those guys have. But it's going to be the end of what was certainly a roller coaster year coming up on Saturday here with the Pinstripe Bowl. Any predictions? You got a prediction for a final score? I know it sounds like you like Penn State.
Yeah, I think Penn State all the way. I mean, if they can get that offense going, Keytron Allen has a good game. I think they could put 30+ on the board, and I'm going to go. How about 38-21, Penn State?
38-21. Okay, I think I'm going to go a little bit lower than that. I will say 24. I'm going to say 24-17 Penn State.
It's gonna be fun to, like I said, it'll be fun to watch just to see what some of those younger guys are able to do and build that momentum into next season and carry it on to next season. Because I mean, God only knows after the season that they've had up there at Penn State. I mean, we just need to right this ship and get it back on track, and hopefully this gives them some momentum if they can beat Clemson here on Saturday at the Pinstripe Bowl and give them some momentum, and maybe Matt Campbell will see some good things out of this team and go from there. So another thing after this game, it'll certainly be the blue-white scrimmage. It'll be interesting to watch too up at Penn State when that takes place in the spring again.
Yeah, I think that'll have a lot more interest this year than I think it has in years past, especially with, depending on who comes in with the transfer portal and obviously with the new coaching staff. So when you and I were together last week, we were talking a little bit of Phillies as far as we were breaking down what we thought of the Adolis Garcia pickup. They had signed Brad Keller to be a high-leverage right-handed guy out of the bullpen. So since then, last Friday, the Phillies surprised, I guess, some people by trading Matt Strahm to the Kansas City Royals. They bring in, they get back Jonathan Bolin, right-handed reliever. Okay last year, 1.2, 3.86 ERA and 34 appearances, and then they traded a minor leaguer to bring in Kyle Backus, a left-handed sidearm thrower from the Diamondbacks. So it looks like a retooling of the bullpen is what we're looking at here. So this is what I have next year for the Phillies bullpen. You tell me what you think of this. So the right-handers out of the bullpen right now I have as Jonathan Bolin, Orion Kerkering. I guess Taijuan Walker would be out of the bullpen.
Yeah.
Brad Keller, and then Jerron Duran as the closer. And then the left-handers, at this point, I have Jose Alvarado, Tanner Banks, and Kyle Backus.
Right. And the Backus trade is going to be interesting. I mean, I don't know if he may start at AAA. He's a younger guy that is out there. So is Bolin from Kansas City. Both younger guys. But if I were to pick, I would say that Backus may. You don't think he may start at AAA, Lehigh Valley?
He might. I just included him because I think I don't like the left-handed situation coming out of the bullpen. It looks to me like they're putting a lot of eggs in the. I know they like Tanner Banks a lot. He threw. He came into some key situations for them last year, and he was pretty effective. In a limited role, he's not a big innings guy. It feels to me like they're putting a lot of eggs in the Jose Alvarado basket, and I don't know how comfortable I am with that.
Yeah, and I think here in the offseason they still got a lot of work to do in that bullpen. Maybe even with the starting pitching to some extent too, to get some better arms there. But I think for both these guys with the Backus and also with the Bolin deal, I believe those are two young guys that they can actually mold into the system and get them, where they want them to be, which is the good thing. And I think Bolin will probably be the guy that may stay up. He may also, at some point in time, he may find himself at AAA too to start and get some more throws down there. But we'll see that. But that bullpen, it can't be over here in the off season as far as what they're going to do. I would think. They got to have more tricks up their sleeves as far as what they're going to do with that bullpen going forward, because you and I both know for the past couple of years that has been a struggling point for the Philadelphia Phillies.
Well, and I think the other thing they're waiting to see on is where things land with JT Realmuto.
Yeah.
He hasn't signed yet, and
That's
I don't know at some point do the Phillies pivot to some sort of plan B at catcher. I feel like you can't go into next year with Marchand and Garrett Stubbs as your catchers. That's not a winning recipe for me.
No, I like Marshawn. I mean, I do like Marshawn and the steps that he took towards the end of the season and his progress. But yeah, I'm sorry, you can't keep Garrett Stubbs in that catching role. Send the guy down to AAA. That's where he belongs. That's where he should stay. If you don't get Real Muto back, I mean, they said they were at a standstill as far as the talks and negotiating the money, the years, and all that good stuff with him. But I don't know what else is out there as far as catchers wise. If they don't land Real Muto, I mean, you can't imagine that they're going to have Marshawn and Stubbs as the catching core in Philadelphia if Real Muto doesn't come back. Like, oh man.
No, I don't think so. I
open
don't.
Tryouts.
I think that I think they'll have some sort of plan B, whether it's via trade or we'll see. But I mean, I guess the most ideal situation obviously would be to have Real Muto come back.
Yeah, I agree.
So we'll see what happens. All right, pal, time for some puck talk. You and I love it. We love the puck talk here on Broad Street and Beyond.
Another interesting week.
We'll start with the Flyers. So this is a team. I don't know why for whatever reason this year I'm like so emotionally invested in this squad because it's kind of the same team it was last year.
Yeah.
So I was fit to be tied last week because I felt like they left some points on the board.
Yeah.
Losing to Buffalo and just gagging that game away on Saturday against the Rangers. I was oh man, I was ready to spit nails that game against the Rangers. Then it's like, oh well, then last night they beat Vancouver 5-2, and I'm like, okay, well, all right, well they're in second place. I guess everything's okay.
Yeah, I tell you, what a shakeup in that Metro Division once again this week with the Capitals starting to falter. Penguins going downhill and maybe making up some momentum here for the Penguins and getting a win. But the Flyers, it's like I said last week. I mean, you saw with that their third and fourth line, they weren't contributing at all. And now the past couple of games, you're starting to see that. You saw that last night, too, with Dvorak, Brink, all those guys starting to contribute a little bit more in that Flyers lineup. And once those guys start to get rolling, everything else, I think, is going to come together. I mean, with that first and second line, I mean, there's really they're playing well. That first and second line is playing real well for the Flyers, but it's that third and fourth line that you just don't know what you're going to get.
Well, I think last night, so the fourth line played pretty well. They got Gurbenkin had a goal and an assist. That the fourth line actually had 2 goals. Gurbenkin had one, and then Grunstrom. So it was Grunstrom, Gurbenkin, and Abels were the fourth line last night.
Yep.
And
then Dvorak had one.
I think. What's that?
Dvorak, he had one less than 2 minutes.
Dvorak had one. Now he's on the line right now with Zegras and Konechny.
Yeah.
So, and I think they've gotten a big spark from Denver Barkey. They've called him up from Lehigh Valley.
He looks good.
He's a scrappy player, and it's like they're kind of. It looks like right now. Depending on how they could, Nick Delorier and Garnet Hathaway could be the odd guys out right now, at least by how everybody played last night. Now Dvorak was out injured on Saturday, so they really missed him against the Rangers, and so was Vladar. So they had to play Sam Ersson in goal. Both of those guys, Vladar was in net last night, and Dvorak was back, and it made a huge difference. Now. The Flyers are right back out on the ice tonight against the Blackhawks to begin a big road trip. So we'll see. I'm guessing Ersson's probably going to start tonight with it being a back-to-back.
Right.
But if Vladar starts tonight, that pretty much tells you that they trust Vladar right now way more than they trust Sam Ersson.
Yeah, Vladar looks really good at net. He looked good last night, and defense looked good. But, I mean, keep in mind, they're on the road here. 8 of the last 9 games here. They don't come back home until that first week of January. So I think the win last night against Vancouver, definitely a momentum shift maybe for the Flyers as they head out on the road. They certainly needed that victory last night, and hopefully they start to click. And, man, hey, second place in the Metro Division is nothing too shabby there, buddy. I mean, they're playing some good hockey here of late, and they just got to get it all clicking, and who knows what will happen in that Metro Division.
Yeah, I'd really like to see if they can find a way to get this win tonight in Chicago.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a winnable game, but it doesn't always work out that way because then then they really start heading out west. They're go to Seattle on Sunday, and then I think they've got Vancouver on this trip, Calgary, Edmonton. I think they finish out with Edmonton early in the new year. So it would really be nice to see them get on a roll. But
and Mitchkoff looked good last night too.
Yes,
yeah, Mitchkoff looked good.
He looks like he's much more active. It was a good all around game, and we'll see if they can take that on the road with them tonight. The Caps, they lost they lost to they had the win against the Leafs, and then they had this home and home with Detroit. And I don't know how much you saw of that game on Saturday where they were home against Detroit. They lost 5-2. They looked like they were asleep at the wheel on Saturday.
Yeah.
They just I think they got outshot something like 17-6 in the first period, and it looked like they were just getting outworked left and right by Detroit. Now, Sunday they were at home, Sunday the game was in Detroit. They lost that one in overtime, but the effort was much better. They were the ones that dominated in the first period and got off to a really good start. And then they had a lull in the second period, but then they found it a little bit again in the third period. They got Ethan Frank had both goals, and he was the one that tied it up. But then they gave up that goal late in overtime. The one timer, I think it was from the circle by Mo Sider.
Yep.
And so again, now they've kind of been a little bit uneven as of late. But again, they're right there. They're right behind the Flyers, I think, in third place in the Metro.
Yeah, they lost 6 of their last 8, and Ethan Frank's scoring certainly helps them out. But I mean, they're still getting a lot of help from their defensive side. Chychrun again. I mean, Carlson is still contributing. You got Tom Wilson still doing all the dirty work there again. I mean, they're similar to the Flyers. I mean, some of those guys just aren't contributing. Every now and then you're going to see Protas contributing there, getting a goal here and there, but they got to get some more offensive support from some of those other guys that are in all 4 of those lines, and they're certainly not seeing. I mean, they had a tough break in that 5-2 when Chychrun they scored, but it was waved off due to the goaltender interference. I don't know if you saw that. That would have brought them within one.
Them within a goal there. Yeah.
That was a tough break for them, but losing 6 out of their last 8, the Capitals got to start putting the pedal down a little bit more, and it's not getting any easier to take on the Rangers here later tonight. But the Caps got to get some more offensive firepower. They're good on 5-on-5 play, but when it comes to the power play and the penalty kill, it's not so good.
So the Penguins, I guess, finally on Sunday breathed a sigh of relief. Their losing streak, or the winless streak, however you want to look at it, reached 8. They had the back-to-back 4-0 losses. They lost 4-0 in Montreal on Saturday, and then they got, I guess that was at home on Sunday. They got the shootout win.
Yep, 4-3.
4-3. The biggest event of note there was Sidney Crosby with the goal and an assist, and he's now passes Mario Lemieux for the all-time career points. He broke the franchise record for career points, passing Mario Lemieux.
Yeah, pretty much cementing him as probably the best Pittsburgh Penguin to ever play and to ever lace up the skates in Pittsburgh, for sure. I mean, that definitely was.
Absolutely.
That last game was kind of back and forth, and, again, the Penguins just keep letting the teams back in the games. They can't put them away, and at least they got the shutout win. I mean, they've been 0-4-4 their last 8 games here, and they've had a tough stretch where they got a tough stretch coming up. I should say they got to have some momentum going into this stretch where they're going to take on not only Toronto, they take them on the road, Blackhawks on the road, then they take on Carolina and Detroit twice. So it doesn't get any easier for Pittsburgh here, and looking forward in their schedules. So I mean, they. I don't know what's going on there. I mean, at the beginning of the season, we said, hey, maybe the new coach, is doing some good there, but now of late, it doesn't look like they have been playing some real good hockey and consistent hockey.
No, now you're starting to hear some guys possibly on the trade block that they might look to shake things up, but I think they were at least happy for one day to get 2 points, because they were. Montreal really had some grade A chances in overtime. They hit 2 posts in overtime, and there was a setup. I forget who passed it over to Caulfield. He had like a one timer hit him right in stride in his wheelhouse from the left circle, and Shelofs was able to make a save there. Shelofs played pretty well. I think he's
been
playing
solid.
Pretty well.
Yeah,
he's been really solid for them. But now I guess they're one of those teams we talked about. So they've gone on a little bit of a skid, and now they're down to 7th in the Metro, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So they've
tough road stretch.
Toronto tonight, and what did you say? Chicago coming up this weekend.
Yeah, then they play Detroit twice. They got Carolina coming up as well. So I mean, they got some pretty tough games here on the road, and it's not getting any easier for Pittsburgh. So we'll see.
A little bit closer to home, the Hershey Bears. Now they closed out the 9-game homestand last Saturday. They got the 4-1 win at home over Bridgeport. They finished, and they won their last 2 on the homestand, I believe, right? They beat Charlotte, and then they beat Bridgeport. So overall, what was it, 4-5 on the homestand?
Yeah.
I think you would have liked to have seen better than that, especially with that many games at home, knowing that it's going to even out here on the road. That being said, again, it's a small sample size, and I know you probably look at it a little closer than I do because you're at more games. It seems like they play a little bit better on the road right now than they do at home, at least style-wise. I don't know. It seems like I think they were like 6-2 at one point on the road, and they hung in there against Wilkes-Barre Scranton on Sunday. I know they lost 3-1, but I think that was more Sergei Murashov was in goal for the Baby Pens. He was really good, and the Bears had some grade A chances early in that game, and I think Murashov made some key saves in that game. The opening goal by Wilkes-Barre Scranton, I don't know if you saw that. It was the guy coming down the left wing, Zach Gallant, beat Clay Stevenson. I don't know if it got inside his shoulder or something. You would think that was one that he would like to have had back, but. Wilkes-Barre Scranton was clogging up the middle pretty good, and like I said, Murashov was making some huge saves. It almost felt like when they got that second goal, the one by Dumba, and 2-0, that was like the way that game was going. It almost felt like a backbreaker a little bit.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. I mean, you hit it on the head for the Penguins game. Murashov was outstanding in that game, and Wilkes-Barre, they're leading the division for a reason, and the Bears seem to have a tough time when they're playing some of these good teams and getting goals against those good teams, getting the pucks to the net and getting guys in front of the net for the rebounds in those games, and that was kind of the issue here going forward with the Bears on Sunday there, but. Played a decent game, not overall a consistent 60-minute game again, but obviously the game the night before was a lot better with Protus scoring, Crookshank, and they had Spencer Smallman. He's now back in their lineup, so that should help them hopefully going forward here too. But they're getting some big goaltending from a lot of those guys, and it was interesting where they went with Stevenson in that game on Sunday, where Mitch Gibson obviously has the hot hand. He's undefeated, 6-0 for the Bears, and 3-0. Here as well. It's going to be interesting what they're going to do with that 3-goalie mix up there in Hershey too. One of those guys is eventually going to have to get sent down to probably South Carolina. Sure. So who's it going to be in that mix? Is it going to be Bjorklund? Is it going to be Stevenson? Or is it going to be Mitch Gibson? Right now, you can't afford to send Mitch Gibson anywhere because he's playing so well.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't envy the decision that Derek King's going to have to make there. But you're right. I don't think they're going to want to be carrying 3 goalies the whole way through, because you're probably going to want that roster spot for another forward or defenseman. Obviously, the 2 young kids, Protus and Crystal, continue to play pretty well. I mean, Ilya Protus. I mean, I think that kid is a flat out stud. Yeah. I don't think. Maybe he lasts the whole year, but I don't think he's long in Hershey. I think Washington likes him. I don't think they want to rush his development, but they have to like what they're seeing. I would think overall through the early part of the season.
And at some point in time, you got to give the kid a shot in the NHL. I mean, the way he's playing, he's obviously the top rookie in the AHL. I am surprised how well Andrew Crystal is playing. His 9th consecutive point streak is still intact after Sunday's game. There, and I mean, he's such a small guy. He reminds me a lot of like Keith Aucoin back in the day for the Bears, but just a tough, gritty kid.
Pointer.
Yeah, just a tough, gritty kid that can get points, can score, and he's having a lights out season too. But I think at some point in time, it's like you said, they're going to have to give Protas at least a shot. At least 1-2 games in the NHL and see how he does, because the way he's playing is lights out.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think he just gets better and better as the season progresses, and I'd love to see what he looks like come, what kind of level he's playing at come March.
Yeah.
Now we'll see. Now coming up, I guess they're in Wilkes-Barre Scranton again coming up on, is that Saturday? They're
27th.
back up
Yep,
there?
Saturday they're there. Yep.
Okay. So we'll see how they match up against them the second time around. I guess Wilkes-Barre Scranton came in. They had lost 3 of their last 4. So, you would have liked to have seen maybe Hershey steal one there last Sunday, but they get another crack at him up there again on this coming Saturday, and then they're back home Sunday, right, against Charlotte, I believe.
Yeah, special teams, too, has been pretty big for the Bears in the past 3-4 games here, not so much in the Wilkes-Barre Scranton game, but I think they scored goals in like the last 3 of their last 4 coming into that Wilkes-Barre Scranton game, so that was good to see. And they just got to play solid hockey. I mean, that's half the battle here up in Hershey right now, and if they keep playing that solid hockey, they're going to be a team to reckon with this season, but they just haven't been able to put it together consistently yet.
Well, and the power play had been an issue, just a little bit ago. When we had Zach on, they were in a stretch where they were only like 3 for their last 19. So It was good to, at least for a couple of games, to see that get back on track. So right now they're kind of I think they're in 5th place right now in the Atlantic Division, but they're right behind Lehigh Valley. I think they actually had 3 games in hand on Lehigh Valley, and they're only 3 points behind Charlotte for 3rd. And then they got Charlotte coming in on Sunday. So we'll see if they can find a way to win a couple of games this weekend. They could find themselves up in 3rd place by the end of the weekend, depending on how things fare for the rest of the teams.
Yeah, they just got to compete with some of those big boys in the division there, and once they start to figure that out, get some more goals, get some bodies to the net there, and get the pucks to the net, and kind of weed out that penalty kill that they have. Penalty kill's been kind of hit or miss this season, and they're a better team on the road. So maybe it's a good thing that's coming. The homestand came to an end, and now they get to head on the road and play some of their hockey that they've been a strong point this season for them.
Let's close it out with a little Sixers talk, my friend. The Sixers, actually, the last time we talked, they won 2 straight. They came off of the layoff from the NBA Cup, and they got a big win over
the NBA
those
Cup champs.
NBA Cup champion
I knew you
New
were
York
going
Knicks up in the Garden, 116-107, and then on the back-to-back the next night, they went at home over the Mavericks, 121-114. I think, to me, the biggest story that came out of those 2 games is that Nick Nurse is finishing the game with Maxey, Edgecombe, and McCain all on the floor at the same time. It's a small lineup, but it's a quick lineup, and when they're all on their game, it can be pretty dynamic. It looks like, Maxey is Maxey. He had 30 against the Knicks. He had 38 the next night against Dallas. But to me, Edgecombe looks like he's playing with more and more confidence now. He looked like he did early in the season against Boston, that first game, and he was really getting some high marks for the defense he played on Jalen Brunson in the win on Friday night up at the Garden.
Yeah, he had a real strong 4th quarter in that game alone. I mean, and if they keep getting the offensive production from Edgecombe, which he was doing at the beginning of the season for the first couple of games, scoring those points, and if they can get him consistently to score 15, 20 points a game, I think they'll be all right. And the Sixers are too. I mean, another question maybe here in this season, do they really need Joel Embiid at this point in time? And they're playing good basketball without Joel Embiid in that lineup. Is that only going to make them better when he comes back and is playing at the minutes that he should be playing? And then once, they get Andre Drummond in there, he's starting to play a little bit better too. McCain is starting to play a little bit better. I mean, and Kelly Oubre, once they get him back, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the Sixers? Maybe they'll start to play a little bit more consistent basketball this season. But if they can keep on getting that production from VJ Edgecombe and what he's been doing the past couple of games, I mean, I think the Sixers would be all right.
There's another pod that I listened to that made me chuckle. He was doing he called it the Pleasant Surprise All-Star Team. Like a guy who doesn't play a lot, and then when you play, oh, look, so-and-so's playing.
Yeah.
What a pleasant surprise. He was talking about Zion Williamson.
Oh, yeah.
But I think I would throw Embiid and Paul George in there. You tune in one night to the Sixers, you go, oh, look, Embiid's playing. What a pleasant surprise.
Yeah.
Oh, look, there's Paul George. Because, from kind of from one game to the next, you're not sure. Embiid didn't play either game against New York or Dallas. Paul George was in there against the Knicks and then did not play the second game of the back-to-back against the Mavericks. But, I mean, having those three guards on the floor at the same time, again, it's a small lineup. Depending on who's in there, because on Friday night, Mitchell Robinson killed them on the boards.
Oh yeah,
for the Knicks, he had a monster game. Hopefully when you have that three guard lineup in there, maybe a Dominic Barlow, a Dem Boner, Andre Drummond can pick up the slack for the lack of rebounding you might not get with that smallish lineup on the floor.
Yeah, I like Barlow's game. The last game, he had 21 in that victory.
21, yeah.
But I mean,
he's been a find.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. I think when you look at that Sixers lineup from top to bottom, including their bench, and once everybody's healthy in that lineup, I mean, they have a pretty good squad there. And then, like you mentioned, with Paul George in that lineup, they put Maxey out there and Embiid. Aren't they? They're undefeated this season with those three guys on the floor. When those guys are all playing,
right.
when they're playing. So, I mean, they got to get Embiid back, and I'm not sure what his health status is at the current moment, but he's got to start getting some more minutes, and it's only going to increase what they're doing now.
Yeah, they're back in action tonight. They're home against Brooklyn. Certainly a winnable game, but I have not. I didn't check to see what the status is tonight for Embiid or Paul George, and then. After tonight, then they go on a big road trip. Friday after Christmas, they're in Chicago, and then Sunday they're in OKC, which you probably will mark that one up as a loss. The only hope I would see is that
JT, don't count them out
maybe
yet.
maybe OKC might rest some guys.
Yeah, that could be.
Maybe they'll sit Shea and some of the other guys, but I don't like their prospects there, but we'll see. It's good to see them. It was an exciting weekend of Sixers basketball, to say the least. But
it's like I said to you before.
My friend,
I think I've watched probably more basketball this year than I have in probably the past 15 years of my life, just because the way the Sixers are playing, and they're a fun team to watch.
Right, baby.
They are a fun team to watch.
Yeah. My friend, it is time. We have come to the end of this Christmas Eve edition of Broad Street and Beyond. It's been a pleasure. Great way to head into the Christmas holiday and to New Year's. And Chase, Merry Christmas to you and the family.
Merry Christmas to you, sir. Enjoy your holiday break for sure.
I'm looking forward to it. We'll be back at you soon. I don't know. Are we doing one next week? Or are we gonna take a week off? What are you thinking?
We'll talk about it off air. How about we talk about it off air? We'll negotiate.
No, let's make it awkward. Let's do it right now.
Okay.
Right here on the live.
You want to do rock, paper, scissors?
Rock, paper, scissors to a smash burger bet to see who.
There's no smash burger involved. Rock, paper, scissors. So if you win rock, paper, scissors, we do the podcast next week. If I win the rock, paper, scissors, we take a week off and we come back after the new year, revamped and rejuvenated.
Okay, so we got to see if we can see the. Okay, one. Wait, whoa.
Whoa.
Okay, ready? Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Wait a minute.
I can't see. What
I
are you
can't see
doing?
my camera. What do you got? So,
I got scissors.
That's a tie. It's a tie. See, I got scissors.
Okay, got to do it again.
Let's get ready.
Ready?
1, 2, 3. Scissors. What do you got? I got scissors.
I had paper.
Oh, so I cut the paper.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
baby, we take a week off.
No pod next
No pod
week.
next
You heard
week,
it.
boys. Girls.
You heard that. You hear that, folks. Chase doesn't care about you. He wants to take a week off.
I need a vacation.
But okay, so we'll be back at you guys
After the
in the new year. Again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everyone who's listening or watching us. Like, share, and subscribe. We thank you so much for your support, and we'll talk to you again very soon.
Yep. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thanks for everything.
Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.